I'm Kim, the Abundant Traveler, and this is my New York City travel guide to the Lower East Side. I've been to New York about 10 times, and each time I come here, I find something new and different. And so this weekend specifically, I'm going to be on the Lower East Side. I'm going to do my best just to stay in this particular little 1 mile radius. Some of the highlights include Essex Market, which is the old pushcart market. We have Catalan Deli, which is the most divine pastrami. Some of the other highlights include Russ Daughters and a few other ones that I'm going to share with you in this video. Well, good morning everybody. I am on my first espresso. I am not a morning person, but I did get up early enough before my food tour to try a couple of the coffee shops. The first is Cafe Vita, and then I'm headed over to Ludlow Street to their roasting company. So coffee number 1, coffee number 2 there, and then off to my food tour. So now I'm at stop number 2 at the Ludlow Coffee Supply. I'm finally waking up. Things are kicking in. I actually prefer this one to Cafe Vita. The best part about this coffee shop is directly across the street from the Hotel Indigo. So I just roll out of bed and roll over to this coffee shop. Cheers. Here's to a good start to a good morning in the NYC. So I'm starting the food tour with Dante. This is our first stop. We're at Yona Schimmel, which are the best knishes in all of New York. Let's go in and check them out. So this is Hop, and Hop was telling me a little bit about the knishes. Why is this place so special?
Because it's the oldest knish place still around.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So now I am in the Essex Food Market, and I am taking the Lower East Side food tour today with Dante.
Hello.
He is the owner and our guide today of Nice Guy Tours. He has one on the Lower East Side, which is the focus of this weekend. He also has one in Greenwich Village. Hey.
What's up, guys? I'll see you soon.
Okay, thanks so much. Check out the description below for all the links to everything I saw on the Lower East Side, including Nice Guy's food tour. One of the highlights to see on the Lower East Side when you're here is coming to the Essex Street Market. It is actually inside. All the kiosks are here. It used to be push carts, and they used to be all over the streets. Quite eclectic here in the Lower East Side. And in the 40s, they moved to an old building across the street, and now we are in a brand new high-rise condo building. It's the first 3 levels, and all the original vendors, I believe, are here, plus a bunch of new vendors. And I just stopped and picked up some delicious olive oil and balsamic. So when you are on the Lower East Side, definitely you have to check out the Essex Street Market. So this is a famous Katz's Delicatessen. When you walk in the door, they give you this ticket, and on the back is where they mark everything that you have ordered. If you try and walk out of here without your ticket, they're gonna charge you 50 bucks. So make sure not to lose your ticket. This is famous for their pastrami. It actually takes 4 weeks to cook, and I heard that they do 20,000 pounds of pastrami a week at $32 a pound. Are you kidding me? This is the infamous pastrami. They're so good. I'm not able to eat the rye bread because I'm gluten-free, but this pastrami is so good. I've been here before. Oh, hey Dante.
We're here at Katz's Deli with the Abundant Traveler. They've been here since 1888. They go through 20,000 pounds of this pastrami every week. It's $32 per pound. And maybe you could give them a little taste. Will they have a little taste?
Oh, right there.
Delicious.
The Lower East Side is about 1 mile square, with Houston on the north, Canal on the south, Bowery to the west, and the East River to the east. It was originally known as an immigrant neighborhood, and primarily with the Eastern European and Russian Jews. If you walk around here, you can see all kinds of Yiddish, and you can get the most delicious pastrami, knish, The Lower East Side is famous for things like the Tenement Museum, and it is the original place in New York City where you find apartment buildings or tenements. They are 5-story to 6-story walk-ups without elevators, and originally they didn't even have electricity. It was outhouses in the back, and it's where a lot of the immigrants and workers in the other parts of the city lived. Around the turn of the century, this was the most densely populated neighborhood in the entire world. The Lower East Side today is a little bit of glitz, a little bit of glam, still a lot of grunge. It's a very eclectic, gorgeous side of New York City. What I love about it is how intimate and close-knit everything is. The restaurants here are about 40-seat restaurants. All the shops are super small. It has an old world vibe down here, and it is gentrifying at the moment. It's changing a lot. We are now getting big, huge high-rises. So yeah, there's change happening on the Lower East Side, but you can still find the old vibe. So one of the highlights of the Lower East Side is the International Center for Photography, or the ICP for short. Right now we are in here, and it is such a cool exhibit about hip hop and the photography of hip hop. So let's take a look around. Definitely something to add to your list when you're in the Lower East Side. So while you're hanging out on the Lower East Side and you want to take a venture out for just a few moments, head over here to Chinatown. This is where you're going to get the most delicious dim sum and dumplings. And if I'm not mistaken, it is the largest Chinese population in the world outside of China. So I'm walking over to the museum at Eldridge Street, which is the synagogue. Quite famous thing to see here. So this is amazing. I'm in the heart of the synagogue at the museum on Eldridge Street. What's curious about this is this used to be the heart of the Lower East Side. Well, as we're walking in today, everything is in Chinese. I was reading a little bit about the history. 50 years ago, the Jews were moving out to other areas, and the Chinese immigrants moved in, and so you have this gorgeous museum synagogue that is still active with Chinatown all around you. It's crazy, but this is definitely worth coming to see, learn a little bit about the history of the Lower East Side. If you're like me and you love tapas style foods, little dishes, not necessarily Spanish tapas, but small plates, I am knocking out 3 different restaurants. It is my first stop for the evening. I'm at the 10 Bells wine bar. It's actually a tapas bar and a wine bar, and it is a great venue. It is actually, they have $1 oysters for happy hour. So I had a little glass of muscadet and some oysters. Just delicious. Now I'm off to the next stop. Well, you got to make the most of everywhere you travel in New York City. So my Lower East Side tour is continuing. First was the 10 Bells. Now I'm headed to Pig and Cow, which is sort of Thai and Filipino influence. So hopefully I don't get run over crossing the street, but yeah, I'm on to the next stop. Oh my goodness, it smells so good in here. I've just arrived at Pig and Cow. I'm at the bar, which actually is a chef's bar. I get to watch them make food. Just ordered a glass of rosé, and I cannot wait to dig in. I don't even know if you can hear me inside of Pig and Cow. It is rocking with hip-hop music. The food is amazing. I'm having chicharron, which is a very southern thing, or a Mexican thing. I didn't know it was a Thai thing as well. And I'm having a green mushroom and shrimp, delicious, I don't know what. It's so spicy though. I need like some fire extinguisher, but it is so good, so yummy. So that makes 2 restaurants for the night. I'm now looking at my 3rd restaurant to make it a full night of the Lower East Side. And now I'm on my way to Wild Air, which is very highly rated, supposedly only 35 seats. I hope that there's a spot at the bar for me because it's already getting late and probably true dinner hour instead of happy hour. So Fingers crossed that I get a spot. So I'm starting to get full and I'm starting to get tired now. I'm on my third stop, and yes, they fit me at the bar at Wild Air. And honestly, when I looked at the menu, I wasn't very hungry. So I'm getting the Little Gem salad with pistachios and chili. Maybe a cheese plate, but something awfully simple. But what is phenomenal about this restaurant is the wine list. There are so many wines I'm not familiar with, and I spent 15 years in the wine business, so I'm working my way down the wine list to start off with and keeping it simple on the food so far. The last stop is back at my hotel, the Indigo Hotel, for their famous rooftop bar called Mr. Purple. It is going to be my nightcap, and then I'm calling it a night. Good morning, New York City. So continuing my Lower East Side tour, I have left the Lower East Side, but just by about 7 blocks, I'm at the Thompson Square Bagels. Guess what? I'm getting a gluten-free bagel. There wasn't a gluten-free bagel in the Lower East Side, so cheers to this and good morning, New York. Most delicious bagel. Yes, so this is Mandy from Plan to Explore. Hi. We're here together this weekend in New York doing the Lower East Side. So onward and upward to the next adventure. I'd say the perfect amount of time on the Lower East Side is 2 nights. I am staying at the Hotel Indigo, and I put the link in the description below. And it's perfect. You get enough restaurants, really fun hotel bar at the top called Mr. Purple, where you get gorgeous views of the Lower East Side. And yeah, 2 days is enough. You get all of the restaurants, all of the sites, all of the museums that you want to see while you're here. So if you're going to be staying on the Lower East Side, it's about a $15 to $18 Uber ride up into Midtown and the main part of Manhattan. So if you are here on your first trip to New York, I probably wouldn't stay on the Lower East Side. This is more the area to stay if you want to just check out one particular neighborhood, hang out here, live the life, feel more like a New Yorker. So it's my last afternoon on the Lower East Side, and I have just left Russ Daughters, where they have amazing food on both sides, savory on one side, sweet on the other. So on all of my trips to New York City, I have never walked across one of the bridges. This Williamsburg Bridge over here in the Lower East Side is phenomenal. I only walked halfway, but it's a super cool experience to see over the East River, the East River Park, and you know, it's just a slice of life from New York City. That's it for my 2 nights on the Lower East Side. I hope that you've enjoyed this video. You picked up a few tips. Make sure to subscribe and leave a comment below of your favorite thing to do on the Lower East Side. I'm Kim, the Abundant Traveler, and I'll see you on the next adventure. Some of the highlights on the keep walking. Let's try that again. Are we going left here?
One more block.
One more block. In the Williamsburg break include the, what is it, the International Photography? Where are we going?
I don't know.
Where are we going? I don't even know where we're going. Went to Cafe Vita.